I didn't want my videos to get too long because they're hard to upload. So I'll be doing this review in 4 separate parts, unless some of them are quicker. Ooh, and that looks very bad. All right, so this is page 268. And if I have 9/12, I can simplify it by scaling down by a common factor for 9 and 12. And I know that 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 4 equals 12. So if I think about this as 9 divided by 3, my numerator becomes 3. And if I think about this as 12 divided by 3, I have 3 over 3, which is 1. It becomes 4. So I know that 9/12 equals 3/4. When I look at 80 hundredths, right away I know that I can scale down by 10, and it can become 8/10. I also know that 8 and 10 are even numbers, so I can scale down by 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. All right. If we're looking for 5 fractions equivalent to 1/5, if I scale up by 2, my denominator becomes 10. If I scale up by 3, my denominator becomes 15. 4 is 20. 5 is 25. 6 would be 30. And what I'm doing each time is I'm scaling up by the numerator because this was a unit fraction. Before I start to solve number 10, I'm going to take a look at my number line and figure out what I have. So my whole goes from 0 to 1 and from 1 to 2. And I want to take a look and see how many pieces my whole is broken into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So thinking about that, I can place 5 and 1/6 and 3 and 5/6 pretty easily. So if I look at this, I know that I have 5 wholes and I have 1 out of 6. So that's B. Taking care of that. And D is 3 and 5/6. So I know that I'm going to go to 3 and I'm going to go here and I'm going to put my D because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6. Those 2 are taken care of. And if my whole is broken into sixths, and I want to get to 1/2, I know that 6 divided by 3 is 2. And what divided by 3 is 1? That's 3. So I'm going to go up here and 1, 2, my third dot is 1/2. And I will label that C. So this one's taken care of. Now what do you know about thirds that will help you with this particular part? You know that 3 times 2 is 6. So if you take a look between 1 and 2, I need equal sized pieces that equal 3. So there are 2, that's my first piece. 4, that's my second piece. 6, that's my third piece. So if I wanted to label 1 and 2/3, I would go to my second piece that's a third in size, and I would put my A. 4 and 1/3, would be the same. 1, 2, 3. And my E would go here. The last part of question 10 is asking what fraction is closest to 4. And if you take a look at 4, D is 1/6 away, E is 2/6 away. So D is closest, and that fraction was 3 5/6. All right. The last part of this particular page is asking you to go from the name of a number in word form or mixed number form to decimal form. And I know that I need a 74 in my number. And I know that the last digit needs to end in the hundredths place. So if I put my decimal here, the 7 is the tenths place, and the 4 is the hundredths place. And I know that there are 7 tenths in 74 hundredths, and I know that there are 4 hundredths in 74 hundredths. So that looks pretty good. It's also very comfortable to put the 0 before it. It just gives you that visual cue that you don't have any holes, you have only part of a hole in your number. Number 12 is 8 and 3/10. 8, our decimal point, when there's a whole number part of it, says and then we have 3/10. So 8 and 3/10 would look like this. 13 is the trickiest of the three because you have 12 and 4 hundredths. The 12 is easy, the and is easy. We don't have any tenths, but we do have 4 hundredths. So that needs to be a 0. So 12 and 4 hundredths. And we know that there's a big difference between $12.40 and $12.04. So keep that thought in mind when you see problems like that. Number 14, 21 and 35 hundredths. 21 and 35 hundredths.